I see a red dot, so I'm going to assume it's recording.
We're going to assume it's recording, and once again, we're back. We're doing this again. I've looked at our other videos. We've got 3 views on like the most recent one. Our highest one is like 11. Now, I think we're still at 1 subscriber. Completely fair.
Thank you.
Which is our producer that I've assigned. Because she's like, oh, if you need help with anything, and I'm like, erase the topic board.
Oh, we got erasers for that now.
Yeah, we got an eraser, we got a board.
You don't have to do it with your hand anymore.
Little wipe. We're working on this pyramid still. I'm working on it. It's not like a top priority to go get the next 3 waves. We're still missing. Who are we missing? We're missing 5 and 6.
Half of these probably aren't on the same team anymore. Well, maybe just Simmons. That's it. No, Morgan Riley's still with the Leafs.
Yeah.
Out for 8 weeks, but he's still with the Leafs.
But we're working on it. They're on. We're missing 5. We're missing like McDavid and we're missing Matthews because I'm not paying $30 for pop vinyls yet. I say yet,
but it's vintage.
It's vintage. It's vintage. It's classic.
I mean, he did just turn like 23.
You know, the other thing is they make them in road white jerseys too. You can get their home or away jersey. I'm like, I just want one.
I just need one.
I don't need the same player twice, home and away. I'm not that obsessed with these things. Maybe if they did a couple more for Dallas, I'd buy the Dallas
Or
ones.
if they did like 3rd jerseys.
I don't
care.
And
one is enough. That's all I'm saying.
We digress as we have no intro. Still, we're not good enough to have an intro. But I'm letting you know, we are working on this. I don't want this to just be here and this table. We're going to change it. We're going to make it wooden.
It's 2020. We're getting there.
We're getting there. I know what you're thinking. What the hell? It's been
a whole year.
It's been a whole year. The last video made was last year. 4 months ago?
We did one in like December or something.
We wanted one in December.
One it was more like October.
Yeah, we wanted one in December and we didn't do it. I went to Houston for a week. Bodie got the flu from Santa.
I loved it. It's better than Cole.
And then we went to the Winter Classic, so we'll talk about that. That was a great experience. Yeah. The only issue I had with the Winter Classic, and I will tell people this.
Too many people?
Besides that.
No, I didn't go down the Midway, so I was fine.
No, me either. People went, did you go to the Midway? And I go, I don't go to the fair.
Even when I'm at the fair, I don't go to the Midway.
We walked through it.
I walked through it, but I'm like, I don't play games. That's just wasting money. We
buy the food, and we don't even pay full price for the ticket. You know what we do? This is probably going to change, but we buy Dr. Pepper from a convenience store for like $1.
I pour it on the ground.
And pour it on the ground. That's exactly right.
Dr. Pepper sponsor this.
So, obviously, I don't think we're going to get... Oh, God, who are they sponsored by? They're Pepsi Cola?
I have no idea.
I don't know, but we don't drink Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
So, we went to the Winter Classic, but our breaks were completely different. I also went to a bowl game. I went to the First Responders Bowl game, and I didn't know when they scored touchdowns that they hit sirens.
Oh.
So I was thinking like, oh my God, there's a police chase that no one's telling us.
All the responders are here.
Yeah, it's like it's here. And then they ran out of food at halftime.
Perfect.
I paid I paid $20 for parking, and this is at SMU. So SMU, fix your crap, right? Because you have money. You have money.
Private school.
You're a private school who has money. And you charge me $20 for parking, whatever, right? Then you don't even have any food. Not just like we ran, no food at halftime. You charge me $6 for a souvenir cup that's like this big, okay? With like SMU football players on it. No refills. Big issue. Because if you're going to run out of food, at least give me refills.
Yeah. Gotta have something.
Nachos were $8, and then I say this jokingly, but because they couldn't add the cheese, you could buy the tortilla chips for $4 because the basket was $1 and the chips were for $3.
Disaster.
Ran out of sliced pizza, ran out of corn dogs, which is like, dude, those things are frozen. Yeah. I know they're frozen.
Drop it in the deep fryer.
ran out of food. So we went It was Houston for a week for me. Then it was a bowl game. I had an off day. It was New Year's, so we were. You went. I'm sure you went to a concert.
No, this is the first year I haven't done either a concert or a Stars game on New Year's Eve because I was dying inside.
and then it was Winter Classic. I had a couple days off. I went to Fort Worth for a day, and then last week before I went back to work, I went 3 days down in Austin. So it's like we haven't seen each other except for one day, and even then we didn't sit next to each other. So
I mean, we were close. We were only separated by like 30 or 40,000 people.
Yeah, I mean it was close.
The only bad part is I had to get up at like 6:30 in the morning.
That's your own fault. I got up at 9.
Well, excuse me. I thought parking would be an issue, and it was not bad at like 8:45.
No, and I didn't mind paying. Here's my thing: I didn't mind paying $40 for parking because my sister went to the game and she paid $20 for parking, but got hit with a $50 ticket. So I was like, I'll pay $40 and I get ticketed.
The city of Dallas screwed up. They're having to do a lot of refunds on that whole thing because I told people to park in certain places, and they're like, "Why am I getting a ticket?" It's permit. That's city of Dallas issue.
Yeah, that's.
I paid for my parking. So.
Yeah, I paid for mine to be on the fairgrounds. The other issue I had is I still have an issue with the Cotton Bowl, and everyone's like,
it was so like. It was open on the outside if you didn't go on the midway, but once you got inside, it was like just a tunnel.
Well, because you gotta, okay, so if, for those of you who don't know, which is probably a great deal of you if you're not from Texas, and if you've never been to the Cotton Bowl.
Or if you're not a football fan.
Or a football fan. And I don't know how the University of Texas in Oklahoma does it every year, but they literally built the stadium 90 years ago. So it's all concrete, there's no AC, there's no,
it's just open and just concrete.
Yeah. So when you could hear the reverb off of it, of like, oh, you would yell Stars, that's what made the chants really weird.
Yeah.
Right? Because you could hear Stars while you're yelling Stars, and then it would bounce back.
Yeah, it's like bounce back.
Yeah. But they also made it when people were, I don't know, starving to death. Everyone...
The concessions are about 10 feet from the outside wall.
Yeah, so everyone's like this big.
Oh, we had to turn sideways to get through.
Yeah, so you're coming through like this, and then like it. That's the only reason why I wish we would blow this. I leave it in the fairgrounds, blow it up, and then like make it modern.
Like a Texas stadium, just tear it down.
Tear it down and rebuild it, but they do the Red River there. And
it's history.
It's history, and so I just don't want that part of it to go away. I just want you to redo the entire stadium.
Just the inside.
No, blow it all up. Just keep like
get some seats in there. I mean, the bleachers weren't bad.
No, they won't. But it's one of those things where it's like, here's the concrete slab. There's your bleacher.
Yeah.
That was
sit on metal.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't too cold though.
No, it wasn't bad. I knew it was the weather cooperated fine. It
didn't rain.
It didn't rain on us. It was just packed, and people are so large now that the stadium's not ready for it. They also ran out of seltzer. You know that? Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
The one that sponsored the entire fairgrounds.
Yeah. They were saying, "Oh, try our seltzer" the entire game, and they ran out, which is why people were coming back with like 5 or 6 beers at a time. Is because they ran out of like seltzer. So that was another issue. The other issue, and I think we've talked about this at the draft, but the NHL just overdoes it with the Texas thing because
just with the country thing.
Yeah, well, with the country thing, but it's like, oh, what?
I get it with Nashville, I guess, because they're like country music. I'm like, I get it with Texas too, but I'm like, Dallas isn't really a country kind of part of the state.
Like, there's country people, but it literally, like, this is how if you're from the outside world, you probably think, oh my God, they all rode in on horses to that event, and it's like, no.
There was a Longhorn there, though.
Yeah. Again, they did the Longhorn thing, like, even for the draft, but it's like, oh, all those people rode in on horses still. It's like, that's not how that is, but I get the marketing ploy of it.
2 Southern teams.
2 Southern. You played the Dallas theme song when they came out.
Yeah.
The cops came out, they played, it was really funny. Overall, great experience.
I would just say the number one thing, though, was the pig races. That might have been the best part of the whole thing. That was better than the music to me. Anything was better than the music. It wasn't terrible, but it's not.
They just played country music. Bodie doesn't like country music, but I don't know how he doesn't like what's that one song the entire stadium sang to?
Oh, I sang that.
Yeah.
I sang the Garth Brooks. I was like, I even posted that on Twitter. I was like, I don't even like country music, and this is like my favorite Stars tradition now that they've been doing for like a year or two, I think. Just every Stars game, low places.
Yeah.
At some point during a commercial break, whenever they come back.
The only thing I didn't like that we didn't do was the Stars at Night.
Yeah, that would have been something.
Yeah. And that would have intimidated Nashville fans. The stars at night are big and bright. Deep in the
Just had fireworks shoot off. Boom, boom, boom.
But we didn't do that. We didn't do that this time. But I'd like to see if Arizona ever gets a Winter Classic and what they would do.
I want a Tampa and Florida.
What would you
I want
do?
the rivalry.
Lay sunbeds out.
Yeah, have the Buccaneers pirate ship out there.
Get Cuban rolls. I don't even know what you would do. And it would be like you overly stereotype Florida people.
Palm trees everywhere.
Palm trees, gators,
nightclub. Nightclub maybe like
yeah.
Miami.
Yeah,
even though the teams aren't really close to Miami at all.
Yeah, and in the neon.
Yeah, the neon.
Yeah, the pink neon.
Pink and blue.
Yeah, yeah.
The heat.
Yeah, it would be like if you did that. That's kind of, and people are like, we don't normally wear that stuff and talk like that. And I felt so bad for the Nashville people because they probably were like, if you're an outsider, I don't know if they broadcasted the pig races, but if you're like, oh my god, they have pig races? What the hell? I'm like, that's...
And mutton busting. Which is just kids holding on for dear life onto a sheep.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like, if you're not super into the western and country style, it probably looks different. And but I agree with that sign last week where Andrew Hoglion should have won.
Dan Hamuse.
So, dude, anything with the word pork in it, that's who I was rooting for. You know? And it still goes with that good joke. Are they beefing? No, they're porking. I love it. I love it. But the Winter Classic was great, so we did that, and then been back to work, so it's one of those things where it's we had state football playoffs, we had all of it going on while we were doing this. I was wrapping up university work and making sure I actually, didn't have to return. So I don't.
I'm sure you never give them another dime again.
I will now have to fake my death from the government.
IRS, please don't watch this.
Because I'm not paying it back. And everyone's like, oh my god, the student loan debt crisis. I'm like, oh my god, we're about to have an identity crisis. You can actually they're starting, what is it called? People farming, where they literally make up a fake identity of babies that have died and they grow them and act like they went through school, and then people who need a new identity will pay to be this person.
That sounds too complicated.
We're about to have that crisis.
Because why not? It's a new decade.
Because everyone's going to be like, I'm faking my death to get out of the student loans. That's ingenious. And then they're just going to pick up the next...
Can't pay student loans if dead. On paper.
But... anyways, we're back. We're making this video. Like we said in our last video, we did our preseason one, and then we actually did our first episode one where we were 25 games into the season.
We actually hit the quarter mark.
We're at
the halfway point.
We're a little over the halfway, or we're under
just over halfway.
Or we're just over halfway, but
almost to 50 games.
We said what our goals were this year was to try to do this more frequently and to actually make a video in the new year, and we are doing that
during the middle of the season.
During the middle of the season. And hopefully in playoffs, and now that we kind of have, now that I live here now that I'm here and I'm home and I don't have to disappear, we don't have to do hey, I haven't seen you in 3 months and then go, but we're going to do that in this video, and I swear to God, hopefully next week we can lock it down from an hour, 40, 50 minutes to where we kind of want it to be. Because every time we seriously talk, we want it to be shorter, we want it to be... more recent and fresh, because after all, once again, we're fresh ice, and we're not fresh.
But I feel like we prepared for this one a lot more than we did the other videos.
You did.
For once. And then forgot the paper at the office, so...
But, so, I know what you're wondering. What is our topics today? We're going to talk about the Winter Classic a little more in depth, even though we just kind of went over it. We're going to talk about coaching changes.
There's only been a few.
Only a couple. The coaching hot seat, we're not really for sure on what the hot seat looks like, but
we're just kind of giving predictions of who we think might be out at the end of the season.
It's one of those things where it's like it's really hard to tell, but I think it still has a ways to go. So unless of course someone sets like another dumpster fire and lets it like burn, it'll be fine. But some of the other stuff is like I don't think Todd McClellan is a true answer for LA, but he's a filler, and that's where I'm at with that coaching.
From one Pacific team to another.
He hasn't left anywhere.
He stayed in California.
He stayed in the West, yeah, Edmonton, and that was the real issue, and that's the one where I was like they should have fired him.
Wasting McDavid.
Sure. Okay, and then we go with the coaches that have been fired. Who do we think are going to return, and who do we think they're going to coach for? John Hines doesn't count because that was a quick turnaround, and I didn't think they were going to hire anybody that quickly.
Yeah, or especially him. Nothing against him, just so like I was like, all right, there's a few options out there, and that's the one you go with.
Yeah, and then where's that? Who goes where? That's for coaches. I spelled from. That's so stupid. And then we're going to talk about some teams. Bodie wanted to talk about New Jersey, Tampa, Montreal, Toronto, Nashville. I wanted to talk about Arizona. He didn't want to at first, but I'm like, dude, you pick them all the time. So, let's talk about them. We're going to talk about Vegas. They're kind of iffy, and we don't really know what to talk about with St. Louis because they don't.
Just keep on.
They keep on keeping on, and they lost Tarasenko, and yet they're fine.
Has stepped up.
Yeah, they're good, and they traded Fabry away, which is a weird thing. Detroit has a lot of weird players.
Yeah, they have an interesting lineup.
But I told you this year. Last year, literally, I watched a couple games, and they hit 6 or 7 posts in each game. This year, going in. Yeah, I called it. I said they're going to score a lot more this year.
You're just giving up a lot.
Well, the thing I said Detroit kind of needed is they need like a Miro or a John Klingberg, and then they can kind of flip it. I like Erickson as a big body, and Mike Green, I think, is a little overpaid at times, but gets the job done, right?
In Washington.
I hate that when you were like, where do we want to go? We have Howard and Mrazek. You got rid of Mrazek, and that is kind of something that's going to get you fired because Mrazek makes playoffs. And does well in them. He does absolutely well in them. And so then after we talk about the Blues, we're going to do like standing and playoffs, and then I'm sure we're going to talk about a couple other teams that we see fit. But let's start back in with the Winter Classic, other than with our hatred for the country themed, and we're fine with the pig races. The roping was a little ridiculous, and the stadium was fine to sit in, awful to walk around at.
And the juggling. I didn't understand the whole. I guess they're going with the fair thing, but I was like, they were doing it during play, and I'm like, what is happening?
I didn't see any juggling during play.
I just saw it like once, and then they like took him off that little tiny stage. It was on the backside behind the penalty box. I'm like, there was no point in even put the band there, like that's in the center or whatever. But I guess you want to have them on the end so everybody can see the band. I don't know.
But they also had I think they said they had the Texas A&M Aggies Dance Club, or the Two-Stepping Club, which is, again, you just were like, let us find
People
the most...
Two-stepping.
Let us find the most country people and load them in here. But it was fun. My only concern before we got the tickets is because we've only watched them. Everyone's like, can you even see the puck? Surprisingly, I saw it pretty well.
Dude, it was awesome. Our view from because whenever I was getting tickets, I was like, I want them on like the second level. So I'm like, I feel like if I'm down low, I won't be able to see the puck as well. So I wanted to kind of be up top. We were like 3 or 4 rows from the press box over there, and we could see everything.
Oh yeah, we were. This is the other thing. So baseball stadiums, we know, kind of have 3 tiers. And most football stadiums has like 2 or 3 tiers. The Cotton Bowl has 2. They have the lower level and the 100s, and that's it. I was in 125. We're a little further up to the top, and we were like, if Midway was here, we were a little bit up above the midway point. we were behind the benches, so you could see like all the goals going for Dallas.
Yeah. We were on like the TV side, so like all the stuff was like facing us, the logos and everything like that, and we were like just to the left of center ice, so it was like perfect.
And a couple of like
Most all the goals were scored on that end, anyways.
Yeah, so
basically.
We didn't see. I couldn't see Nashville score. Those were the only two. Like we saw like not like we saw it go like see them score, but we couldn't see like the puck go in. Now with the 2-on-1, we saw that one go in, and with John Klingberg's shot with the Yann Marks.
I couldn't see Como's because I couldn't see the I couldn't tell if he elevated the puck or not. So I couldn't tell if it had gone in. I was like, I waited, and I was like, did it go in? And they started celebrating. I'm like, all right, it must have went in.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's something nice about having just plain old regular fans in there, and I've said this to like my mom. When we normally go to hockey games, like you and I, we are pretty. We're there for the stars, but we're pretty unbiased. Like when we're watching replays, we look at it pretty logically of like that's gonna count, that's not gonna count.
It's like, oh, that was a good play.
Yeah, like we agree with that. I haven't just gone as a fan for a while.
I just like watching hockey.
Yeah. That was the first time I felt like in a couple years where I was just a fan.
Yeah.
Like, even if I knew the call was wrong, I'm still gonna boo the ref.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, Perry elbowed somebody. I booed the ref.
Yeah.
Like, and I know, like, Perry did it.
5.
Yeah, we booed him. And so,
Which I didn't show the replay on it, like on the big board up there, so I was like, I didn't even know what happened. Like, I saw him go to the bench and get a stick, and then, like, I looked in the corner because they shot the puck off, and I looked back, and the guy's, like, on the ice, so I'm like, I didn't even see what happened.
oh, I saw Perry drop him, but I thought he hit him shoulder to shoulder. But, we're seriously 40 yards away.
Yeah.
We're watching this happen. So I didn't know it was an elbow, and then we saw him have that long walk, and the people behind us were like, oh my god, Perry, and I was like, dude, like, it happens.
It was a quick, like, I think I kind of believe him afterwards. It wasn't intentional, it just happened so fast, and I think with him shooting, it kind of turned him in, but he still stuck the arm out at the line. I think if he hadn't stuck the arm out, it probably still would have hit him in the head, but maybe not as bad. It wouldn't have looked as bad on replay.
But yeah, they didn't show the replay for that. That was one of the issues, and then they didn't show a replay for something else. But other than that, it was good. It was just, I didn't think we'd be able to see the puck, but I was still gonna go because that's just something. And the energy there was seriously. Like,
oh yeah, it was like a playoff game.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, you got 85,000 people, but still.
Yeah. And Nashville's fans are just loud.
Yeah,
and
that
so
whole one section, like a couple sections over from us, was all Nashville.
You could see it was 3 sections. You
It
could
was
see
crazy.
it was just yellow. It was white and yellow, white and yellow, white and yellow. It was great, but they were so loud for them, and then that annoys me. But it's for Texas sports and for like Texas fans, they're not loud. Ever. They're never loud for anything. Like,
unless something happened, they're not just like, oh, don't get into the game because, like, oh, they're building momentum. They only get loud when something happens.
Yeah. And the northern teams and Canadian fan bases like Pittsburgh, Philly, like, they're loud and they're intimidating. And Texas fans are so, honestly, God, they're kind of conservative as, like, That's us cheering, but there isn't that.
Casual fans, it's just they're not as over the top for hockey, I guess.
And if you're in California, like, there's so many other things you can do, but if you're good and you're winning, then they'll be loud. Vegas has a great fan base. That's one of the few Western teams that are like in on it. And Arizona is kind of a hit or miss thing, but in playoffs, like, it's loud, and it's supposed to be loud. Colorado has a good fan base, yeah. But it's one of those things where it's like, if you're seriously kind of below the Mason-Dixon line, most people don't overtly cheer.
It's either football or basketball.
Yeah, and but that's like Dallas people, like that's Texas people in general, is they don't cheer.
They're more laid back
about stuff. They have to wait for you to make the play, and then they cheer, which is, I think, the smart thing that Saban said is, like, don't just expect your fans to cheer, like, force them to cheer for you for when you do something good. But that was a rare time that I was like, you know what? I don't want to watch this game as just somebody who has to, like, kind of dissect it and be impartial. Like, I know we did something wrong. I'm still gonna boo the ref.
Yeah. That's right. He felt it. He only had like a 80-yard walk of shame, so it's fine.
Yeah. And then my mom's like, "Don't boo the ref. That's rude." And I'm like, "Well, as a fan, like your job is to put pressure on people to make it loud, and then to make the ref, make a call a non-call.
Maybe get a call on your side.
Yeah, like that's what you're supposed to do." I'm sorry, we're getting updates from the national championship game too. Apparently, Joe Burrow just got planted. And that's the exact terminology that came into my phone. It's Joe Burrow just got planted. But it was fantastic, and the weather actually cooperated. Like Texas weather changes every 5 minutes. I can tell you.
Even up to the day, I was like, I don't know what it's gonna be like.
Here's the day before: clear blue skies and sunny. And then the next day it was like, it looks like it's going to rain and it's cloudy overcast. You know what happened two nights ago?
A few raindrops before the game. I was like, oh no.
You know what happened 2 nights ago?
Tornadoes?
Yeah, okay, so we had a tornado warning. Then I had to go work.
So it was a disaster.
We had a tornado warning till 9. Then it was raining sideways. Like
Flooding.
I walk into work at like 9:50, and then I clock in 5 minutes later and we get through our meeting. And then we hear the back door starting to rattle, and we open the door to see like what's going on. Because sometimes people knock, and we open the door, and it's coming down sideways, wind and sideways. 2 hours later, it's cleared out. 5 minutes from then, it started raining sideways again. But then it had like Texas snow, is like I call it. It was frosty, and it hit you and melt.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like sleet in a way, not like heavy sleet. And then at 6 a.m., it was just clear.
And then like in northern Texas, there was like 3 inches of snow.
Yeah.
The next morning.
So you never know what you're going to get with Texas. So the weather...
Today was like 65.
Yeah. Like yesterday...
Why not?
Yesterday was freezing cold, today is 65. So we actually had like our first frost the other day. But the weather actually cooperated, and that was good. And the teams, I thought, played really well. And we did the typical Dallas sports thing where we go down and then we come back.
Yeah, they got those 2 quick power play goals, and I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those where you get blown out. I was like, just don't get shut out.
Well, I'm sitting next to my sister, and she's like, "Oh man, that's not good." And I go, "Have you seen the way the Cowboys play? Have you seen, like, if you watch us, we never start good.
Yeah.
We literally turn on in the second.
We got to gain some in the second. We may not tie the game back up, but we're getting momentum."
Yeah. So it was one of those things. Getting questions here.
But I mean, honestly, like us. I think everybody pretty much was texting me, or we talked about it. It's like, besides special teams, Dallas basically dominated 5-on-5 play in the first period.
Yeah.
And the physical element. I think they had 16 hits in the first period, maybe.
It was, when we weren't down, it looked like we were fair, and I think that was the message into the locker room of, hey, just stay out of the box.
Yeah. Seriously.
Like,
plus their penalty kill had been struggling for like 3 straight weeks.
Ours
is at like 50%.
Ours are there.
Or 55 Dallas's.
Yeah.
They'd given up a power play goal in like 4 or 5 straight games. And it was just like a 2-week struggle.
I mean, they held out. They did good. And then, second period rolls around. We gained a little more. And third period, like, dude, as soon as we scored the first third period goal, and
it was just like, it turned.
85,000 people. Because here's the thing, like, if that many fans were actually, like, I don't want to say, like, true fans, because there's casual fans, but if you were, like, a diehard season ticket holder, if that many people loaded the AAC up every night and they were that loud all the time...
It'd be a harder place to play.
Yeah, we would be hard to play at, and I think I feel weird about it, because, like, if you're good and you know you're supposed to be good, then the fan level is there. And so, like, Toronto has, like, the hardest fan
I think it turns
base.
to the players, too. It helps motivate them, because they're like, we know we're a good team, we have good fans and a loud building. They're going to bring it every night, so we have to transfer that on the ice.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where it's like, sometimes I feel like when you know you're supposed to be that good and the fans expect you to be, like, this amazing thing, it's like, when you don't do something amazing in front of your home fans, like, you try to do more than what you're supposed to. And I feel like that's what Toronto does sometimes. And Edmonton has that problem too, but, like, McDavid's just like, I'll just do whatever, and it'll be fine. Us, it's like we need to put on a show. It's like no, just do the simple things, and when you score goals, like we'll yell.
Yeah.
We'll do our part. You just do your thing first.
Yeah. Is that too much to ask?
And someone's like, "We should just cheer no matter what," and I go, it's so weird.
It's
like I don't.
in sports.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to be like, "Yay, we're cheering when it's 0-0." It's like I want you to do like, well, I wish we cheered when we actually check people.
Yeah.
Because then maybe we'd be like, be more physical. Like they like that.
Yeah.
So.
Especially when you have like 2 or 3 big hits in a row, and it's like it just gets the crowd into it, gets the players into it.
But for people who don't know, like again, casual fans were like, they're just going. Dude, 86,000 people. They were fantastic. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah. Nashville was super loud whenever they went up. Even just the first goal.
Oh,
It's like Nashville was just loud.
And I hate being disrespected in our own
With
house.
their chant.
I hate being disrespected in my own house. I hate being disrespected in like the Stars' house. I'm like, oh, it's not really like your house. No, I hate going to our games when we play Chicago, when we play Detroit, and half the building's red. It pisses me off.
I hate it.
I hate it.
I just want to shut out. I don't want them to score at all.
And I'm like, if I was a player and I see half our crowd red, I'm like, we're running them through the wall.
Yeah.
We're either
We're not
checking
giving
them.
them anything to cheer about.
Yeah, we're checking them. We're outscoring them. And at the end of the game, when we go post-game interviews, I go, we have the best fans, and I hope the people in red never come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I want. So when they were chanting, I was like, oh my god. Like, I hate this. I think everyone hates that. And then we scored our first one. We got a little louder. We got the second one. We knew we were going to do it. And the third one, like, the place just erupted.
It's like all within like 2.5 minutes.
Oh, dude, it was like the biggest slap in the face. Like, don't celebrate too early. Don't do that. Don't come into our house and chant.
After they scored the second goal, I don't think Nashville fans cheered the rest of the game.
Oh.
Even when we did the wave. The
Oh,
wave
yeah.
went around. They got booed.
we apparently, like, the wave hasn't been a thing according to my mom watched the broadcast.
Yeah, I was like, it was interesting. I was like, usually you only see it like baseball.
Yeah.
It's usually the wave,
Yeah,
not hockey.
But we did the wave so poorly.
There was 2 levels and it was going different time. I'm like, it was so confusing.
The broadcast people were like, the wave hasn't been a thing in like X amount of years, and now they're trying to do it. And so the first round of wave died 4 sections, and the second round they lined up correctly, hit the Nashville fans, died, and they kind of picked up. And then we got to like the 4th or 5th round, and like it's
like 2 going at different
Yeah.
times on the same level, not on different levels. It's like 2. I'm so confused. Am I standing up twice?
Yeah. So the upper level had 2 waves,
Yeah.
but they were like they weren't even opposite of each other at one
No,
point. They
it's
were
the same
literally
direction,
like
but they were like
3 sections behind each other, and then the bottom row was 4 sections ahead of us, and then it would hit the Nashville fans, die, and then pick back up. But it was fun. It was historic. Apparently, like the radio people I listened to, the Eagle, the Russ Martin show people, are like, apparently everybody and their mother went except for us, and he's like, can you even see the puck? And that was our concern, but I was like, dude, do you really need to see the puck if you're just going to go be a part of history? And
Oh yeah, watch it on the scoreboard or the replay up there.
Yeah, they'll figure a way for you to watch it. So much fun. I love it. I don't know if they're ever going to come back.
Not to the Cotton Bowl.
God.
I mean, it was a fun experience, but I'm like, I think they probably wouldn't do it at the same venue. But I'm like, it's probably going to be another couple of decades before they bring it back to Dallas.
Maybe.
It just depends. Dallas could be in another one, but I think it's going to be a while before they host another one.
They could do maybe the Rangers Stadium.
Yeah, that's what I always thought. I was like, if they ever have a Winter Classic, I want it to be at the ballpark. I'm like, no, it's just.
I think the ballpark would create too much distance to like see.
That's what I said. The Cotton Bowl ended up working out because I was like, even seeing it on like TV or something, I'm like, you can actually see the field. It's like, it's a lot closer than most of the stadiums they've had for the Winter Classic. Like baseball, like you said, the configuration is weird. Cotton Bowl was just like,
Yeah, you're on.
just an oval.
And if you did it at Jerry's World, we're not going to get sponsored by AT&T now.
It's more like an indoor game than an outdoor game.
You can open the roof, but then it wouldn't be outdoor, and then then you would have it like on the largest screen in Texas.
Yeah.
But that would be like a weird shadow kind of thing, and lighting would be weird. I mean,
with the windows if like the sun was up or something.
Yeah, if the doors were open or whatever.
It'd be difficult.
I don't know. I don't think Jerry needs to host any more things.
No. He's got enough on his plate.
He hosted all the state championship games. He even had his practice facility out in Frisco. He's got the draft this year?
I thought they had the draft a couple years ago.
Oh, they did. That's right. They had the draft out there. They have monster trucks. They have...
They've got it all.
They got it all going on. So, Winter Classic was good. I still think the one thing the Stars needed on their jersey, come and take it.
That would have been sweet.
I would have bought a $200 jersey that day if I saw the little Texas patch over here and a little cannon and a star. Come and take it, because that would have just sent the message to Nashville.
I did like the Texas flag on the inside of the collar, though.
Yeah,
that was nice.
Yeah, you gotta do it right. I didn't like the hats.
Yeah, hats.
No, they were fair, but I weren't like, I have to go get them.
I did like the Letterman jackets, though. Those were nice.
Yeah.
I'm not paying $500 for it.
Oh, yeah, I won't do that either.
It's egregious.
I paid my Letterman jacket in high school, and that was enough. But I got it my freshman year. I didn't wait my senior year, because if I did it my senior year, I probably would have skipped it.
You wear it for a year.
Yeah, but I did it. I got it my freshman year, and I kept it real simple. I didn't do like big bulky lettering, and then I only wore it 25 times.
It's worth it.
Yeah, I wore it the first day I got it, and then I never wore it again, and it's still up in the closet. And I didn't put any patches on it. It looks... I could still wear it, but you could tell it's still high school.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to wear it now.
Yeah, so, but that's besides the point. And then I didn't buy a class ring.
I can't even wear it now. It's too small.
Yeah, I didn't buy either class ring.
I did buy another one, though.
I didn't buy either.
Paid for that one.
So, but it was great. And it wasn't cold enough to where the boys had to wear the hats.
Yeah.
But I think Nashville's gear looked better, and the scarves they were selling.
Yeah.
Those looked ugly.
I like which ones?
The ones where it was like the Winter Classic in Dallas.
Oh yeah,
ugly. The team scarves were probably better. Like,
yeah.
Give me a green scarf, I'll wear that.
You know, like the little beanies. Those
Yeah.
are nice on both sides. Theirs had like a little bit of gray and blue with the yellow.
Yeah. So they did the merchandise really well. Now, you know what we could have talked about in this video? We'll do it next week. All-Star jerseys. You don't like them?
They're alright. They just have, I don't know, they're just kind of plain to me.
Dude, Adidas has been running this plain All-Star jersey crap for 2 years now, and I didn't like it the first year, and I don't like it this year. But at least they added the logo of the teams in their color.
Yeah,
and
I think they went with like the primary color of each team, because like the Stars, it's just all green. The Blues is all blue. There's no yellow in it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So I'm like, it's not bad, and it's on like the music sheet or whatever. I guess is what they were going for.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
The stripes. So I'm like, it's kind of Adidas, kind of.
I don't know, and I'm sure they did that recycled jersey crap, so they didn't want to add like a bunch of colors. I did't like the neon color phase we went through in Nashville, and then the one they did in LA. I didn't like that, but I didn't like we'd made our jerseys all like not that I'm against recycling, but it was all black or gray, and then it was
no design on it really.
It's minimum effort is what they're putting in for this, but I'm not overly hyped about the All-Star game. Yeah, so like I'm not.
I'm more about the skills competition.
I'll watch it, but I'm not just I'm not. I mean,
it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's something. It's better than the All-Star game. The 3-on-3 was a good switch, and now that they've had 3-on-3 for a couple of years, it's kind of gotten old. I guess players just don't try. So
I don't like the tournament style. I wish you would just let them do like East versus West and one whole game, and just let them go, because then you can really see like different combinations of people. But that's me. I don't vote anymore. I don't
do
send out
have
people.
the women's teams are going to be part of the All-Star game this year. They're going to do a 3-on-3, and I think it's going to be. It's either U.S. versus Canada. I think it's U.S. versus Canada. They're going to have like women from the NWHL and then like international teams play a 3-on-3 game. Be interesting.
Okay.
At least. Olympics.
I'm all about the mascot game.
I like that they were talking about doing like kind of like a World Cup, but at the All-Star game, having like international teams instead of like East versus West. Make it a little bit more interesting, kind of like they did with the World Cup a few years ago. It's more exciting than the Olympics.
Yeah, well, now that you can't send players to the Olympics. I don't know. I think every sport is dealing with the All-Star crisis, though. It's like, no longer fun. Yeah, it means now that baseball, like seriously, like
baseball used to mean something and now it doesn't.
So you make it mean something again.
Which I always thought that was kind of stupid. That the team that won the All-Star game would have home field advantage in the World Series, because the Rangers both years they made the World Series, they were starting out on the road even though they had the better record than the other team.
Make it worth something.
But I mean, it made players want to go to it because I'm like, if you win, you get to start World Series at home, or you have like. I was the starting pitcher and I won the All-Star game, and it led our team to starting at home during the World Series or something.
That meant something to people. Gave you a reason to try.
And with baseball, it's an actual game. Like hockey, they can kind of like, there's no checking, there's nothing. Baseball and like the Pro Bowl, it's an actual game.
Pro Bowl's not a real game.
I mean, Pro Bowl's...
They're trying to make it a real game.
They're trying to make it a real game. But I'm like, baseball is the most authentic one, because I'm like, baseball, nothing changes from it. It's baseball.
Yeah, basketball's pretty authentic. They no defense either.
Which with baseball, it's more, you're only having pitchers out there for like an inning, or maybe like a batter or two, because you're trying to get everybody into the game. That's about the only thing that changes with their format. But anyways,
we'll talk about jerseys next time. I like them more than last year, but I'm still not just like, let me spend.
Adidas hasn't really
shocked me with anything.
0 for 2.
0 for 2 on things that I would like want to buy. You know, if that's your point of like, hey, I want you to buy this, I'm more willing to buy a Winter Classic jersey still. It's grown on me, but I'm gonna customize and put a commentator thing on it. Yes. But it's one of those things that's like, you know, you gotta get your money somehow. And I wanted to buy a beanie, and then it was fine. The Texas thing on the back was fine.
We got ours.
It was okay.
I had to have some. I was like, I knew we had the Winter Classic for like a year, and I'm like, I haven't bought anything. I was surprised myself. It's like usually whenever something happens, I buy something immediately. But we did for the draft.
Didn't even get a puck. I didn't get a puck this year. I didn't do anything for it.
Bought like 2 shirts for the draft. I'm like, Winter Classic. Didn't buy anything.
No. Well, the other thing is,
so it's like I needed something to show that I was there.
They had a sale. Dude, they had a sale online, and I was like, maybe I'll just get something online, and then I'm a little strapped for cash, so that's whatever. You know, I haven't worked in 6 months, I'm not going to ball out. Like,
stacks on stacks.
Stacks on stacks, we're not there yet, but it's alright. I mean, you got in, got into the stadium, watched the game, good game, got a dub.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, that Make-A-Wish kid, he's like, I wanted to come to, I'm a Stars fan, I wanted to come to the Winter Classic. I'm like, you should ask for a win.
But then he would have jinxed him, man.
What? We were already down 2-0.
I ain't gonna blame the kid.
should have asked for a Winter Classic win. But I'm glad that means something. I don't know where the Bridgestone games are, but those are usually kind of up north. They haven't done one in California since the LA Anaheim thing.
This one will be good this year. I think it's Colorado and LA. In Colorado. Just stopped recording for a second. But I switch it back on.
We're good? Alright. So, let's get into our team talk now. Or wait, I lied. Let's not do team talk.
Coaching changes.
We'll do coaching changes after the Winter Classic.
There's only been a few. So,
we're going to go back a couple months to Toronto, and Babcock gets canned.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that surprised me. He got canned, and then I was like, I don't really know. They hired Sheldon Keefe. I haven't looked at the record of what they've done, but they're still kind of like in the playoff spot, and maybe the players just respond better. I don't.
Because they're still not in the top 3, I don't believe. Or are they 3rd place? I mean, like I said, whenever Babcock was fired, they're still in a playoff spot, and now they're still...
They're in 3rd place. I thought they were in 2nd or 1st when they canned them.
Yeah, and so they're still kind of hovering around the same spot they were in.
Yeah, nothing too terrible. So they fired Babcock. Then the 10-year allegation of Bill Peters comes out. I feel bad that you waited 10 years, and if it happened, like, then we need to fix it. But if it's 10 years ago, and you said nothing for 10 years, and now it's time to pile on, like, why wait? Why wait? It goes for anything. Why wait in Hollywood? Why wait now?
There's multiple, and whenever that came out with Peters, there was multiple allegations within 4 or 5 days on multiple coaches. Crawford, he went. They put him on. I don't even know, leave of absence for about a month or so, and now he's back with the Blackhawks.
They did it with Peter, saying that he fought a player, but it's one of those things where it's like, guys, if it actually happened, and I'm not saying, well, I can say, like, I doubt that it happened, because the claim against Bill Peters was in the locker room, and you're telling me, in the locker room, your coach walks in, I'm assuming there's at least 3 assistant coaches, whatever trainers are in there, right, and 19 other guys that are your teammates, and you said this happened in front of everybody in the locker room, and not a person can be like, that happened.
I think they had maybe 1 or 2 players that corroborated, but other than that, I mean, it was 10 years ago, so I mean, you're probably not going to get a lot of people that speak out or can even remember if something happened.
But that's just me. If it's 10 years ago, why are we holding him now? And it's one of those things where, like, I think I either texted you or I said to somebody else, like, right now, if we were to do something wrong today and it happens 2 years from now, a year from now, 6 months, if we apologize for it, it's still not enough because, like, we're still in that position.
Where do you want a person to go from there?
Yeah. I don't understand where you want him to go. Like, if you wanted an apology, then you got the apology. But if you wanted his job because you don't have a job, that just seems a little, like...
Or even if you fire somebody, how long do you keep them out of a job somewhere else for something that happened 10 years ago? Even if you lose a job in Calgary, let's say he's up for another coaching job, do you nix him off the list because of past stuff, or is it over with at a certain point?
Yeah, I just, you gotta let the past be the past, in my opinion. I didn't like that. There's a lot of things that go along with that, but it's like...
That's a whole management decision that's like, they're in a tough spot.
That's a whole culture decision too, because even with the other stuff, like, that's just... I think that kind of stuff ruins everything. It ruins culture, it ruins our game, and we've been fortunate enough to not really have any, like, political correctness issues for the most part. But that just seemed like, oh, that's ruining it. And someone's like, oh, you're kind of... And I'm like, no, I'm fine with whatever you want to be, with whatever you want to do. But you're holding on to something from the past and expecting like it's happening today. And it's not, because it already happened. And we can't move forward from that. Just move forward. He's moved on. You moved on. Or it
has to be a public thing. It can't be a private thing.
Oh, you want it to be public? I think it can be
private. No, I'm
private.
saying I don't want it to... Not everything has to be public. I'm saying maybe certain things you reconcile with the coach or you reconcile with the player or something like that. It doesn't always have to be a public dragging something out or investigating.
Yeah, just settle it up in house, and like we will never know. But anyway, so they release him. The Stars come out later and they release Jim Montgomery. And if you listen to the press conference, it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, there was no specific anything. It was just like we fired him for unprofessional conduct.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Misrepresenting us or what. And
there's no specifics. They didn't answer really any questions at all.
They
so
said,
it kind of just left everybody, even the players, in the dark.
I think the players probably knew.
They probably just weren't telling the media or anybody like that.
And so I'm as frustrated as I am with how they were like, okay, there were no criminal acts and no criminal charges, and he didn't do anything illegal. Yeah. So then you're like, well, what is it?
It didn't involve anybody within the organization.
Yeah.
Like anybody else. So it was like...
And it had nothing to do with the new 4-point program. It had nothing to do with past players.
Or anything like the Peter situation or anything. So it was like really just confused. It ended up making more questions than it had answers, I guess.
But I can see, like, I like how they from one standpoint, I like how they go, hey, you know, that's his business. If he wants to talk about it, he'll come out and talk about it. we're not saying anything.
We're just saying something unprofessional happened. He's fired, and we got a new interim head coach.
And they moved on. They moved on really quickly. I kind of like that, but as kind of, I guess we would be media in a sense. I don't really consider us to be media.
Or even just as a fan, I'm like, you want to know what happened.
I think as just a person, you want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a person, you just want to know. But it didn't make any sense, and now it makes sense. He came out, 2-3 weeks ago, or right after the Winter Classic, a couple days after
Probably
the Winter.
about 10 days ago or so.
Yeah. Came out and said he had a drinking issue, and if he's willing to talk about it, I think that's fair game.
Yeah.
So he came out, so now we realize, he came out with a drinking issue.
Been working through it for past about a month or so, since he's been fired.
So,
Trying
figured
to
it
turn
out.
things around. I'm sure I think he's going to be back in the NHL one day, just maybe not with Dallas.
I think Dallas hires him back once he gets clean.
I
That's
don't know.
That's me. I'm making that
That's
prediction.
up to Jim Neal and the rest of ownership, whether they can, I guess, trust him again or whatever.
Well, got us in playoffs. Got us to turn us around halfway, and he did that.
And the players liked him, coaches liked him, even management. They just said that it just put him in a difficult position and they had to do what they had to do. So.
But they did. I think they did that kind of right. So the next person that was released of recently, I think it was first. The Devils fired John Hines first. Then Peter DeBoer got canned, and then it was Peter Laviolette.
About 2 or 3 days after the Winter Classic.
Yeah,
I think they lost one more game after the Winter Classic, 2 days later or something.
They all kind of went 1, 2, and 3.
Just within a week or two of each other.
But John Hines has a job. It's coaching Nashville.
Yeah.
So, don't really know what you're going to do there. Maybe they were like, if you're talking about being physical and bringing a presence to New Jersey, we like that in Nashville.
Yeah.
Bring us that and fix our sales here. We'll see how that goes. All those guys went really quick. I don't blame. Let's back up here to DeBoer in San Jose. I don't blame him for this season.
Yeah, they're kind of in not cap situation. They lost a lot of players to free agency.
I blame the GM. You're only good as with the tools you have, and maybe you're like, well, you didn't really develop our under tools or whatever. It's like, my man, we have 2 guys who are going to retire, in the next year or 2.
Yeah.
We lost
not much longer.
our captain to free agency. You signed 2 big defensemen that now eat up a chunk of ice time. You traded our other defenseman to Philly. We're running low on goals because we have nobody, and now we're expecting half of our AHL team to now play at the NHL level and be good. And
the goaltending struggling this year.
yeah, what do you want him to do? I'm sorry, Martin Jones gets hit with the puck and it rolls in. You can't stop that as a coach. You can't. That's on Jones.
I can only build you up so much. You have to perform at a certain point.
So I guess they let him go. I don't think that was the right thing to do. I think they're probably going to fire their GM pretty soon.
Could have a New Jersey situation.
I hope not. I think ownership has a lot to do with it, but I think they're going to probably fire the GM because it's literally one of those things where it's like you couldn't keep anybody in San Jose.
Wilson? Is the GM?
I don't know.
Still? I know he's the head coach for a while, but I thought he was the GM at some point.
I don't know. You can't trade away young talent and then expect to just...
You're stuck with Burns and Carlson. Know that for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that you're stuck with them. It's just the contracts. They're good players. They're just those contracts are eating up a lot of cap space that lost you multiple players in the offseason because you couldn't afford to bring back.
Yeah, we got Joe, so you lost your captain. It's not even like...
Just a leader.
Yeah, now you have Couture. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't really blame that Peter for the issue. Now, the other Peter, I don't know what... you're just having a bad season, man. It happens. Same with, Tampa. Tampa was having a bad season.
Nashville's kind of had their window. I know they haven't had... they've had playoff success, but underneath him, it's not like they've struggled really at any point.
This year. This is a struggle this year. And you're gone. Everyone else is firing coaches, we'll fire coaches. It's like that. I don't like that.
Unless they're just trying to go with a trend or something.
Maybe they're like, we need a little spark, because it doesn't seem like anyone is...
Stepping up.
being like, this
Renee's
is.
had a tough season for him this year.
He's got his goal last week, so maybe the new coaching is helping. I don't know, but I didn't like that firing. But I could see now we're gonna lead into like the teams that for sure we know kind of need coaches now that have interim head coaches. San Jose, I think the coach on the hot seat. Well, we're talking about hot seat coaches in a second. But teams that kind of need coaches: New Jersey, Calgary, Dallas, and San Jose. And I think Dallas is either going to bring back Jim or they're going to keep Rick Bowness. And I think San Jose could probably get Peter Laviolette. He's never been in the West. No, I lied. He's coming from Nashville. He's never been out in like the West in like California.
He was with Philly for a long time.
Yeah, so I think he could go there, and they'll be physical again to beat Vegas. He could probably go to Calgary, but Calgary's like really small.
Yeah.
I could see DeBoer going to Calgary. I think Mike Yeo.
Yeah, he's probably going to be up for another head coaching position at some point.
St. Louis was not his fault.
Yeah, he was kind of in a tough spot there, trying to fill in for a team that wasn't great at that point.
Yeah. And I don't think he should have been fired from Minnesota. It's like not our fault that your contracts are full of old guys.
It's like I didn't make the decisions on the cap space here. It's like you gave Suter and Parise $12 million a year for 12 years.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't make that decision. Now you're stuck with these two guys that are getting older.
So, but I think that's where that's at. Now, Detroit has two issues. One, I think they're going to fire their head coach at the end of the year. And two, that means they're going to be looking for another one. And I texted you this, and I know I still have screenshots of it. Mike Babcock back to Detroit, gets into the playoffs, faces Toronto in the first round, eliminates them.
I just don't see it happening.
I think it could.
I don't know. He was there for such a long time and was part of that historic run with that team, but I think just at the end, I don't know if he comes back. Maybe he comes back to try and rebuild the team that he had, though.
I don't know.
Try and take them back to where they were.
He might take a year off. He could take a year off and come back later. I don't know if where did I say DeBoer could go?
Calgary, maybe? Or no, you said Laviolette could go to Calgary.
I don't know. You can get one of those. I think those two coaches are ready to go back anywhere.
Or you could take Laviolette with Subban.
Oh yeah.
New Jersey.
That's true. You could go up there. I don't know, man. New Jersey has an issue. So, anyways, we're gonna look at the hot seat. Detroit. It's been 3 years. It's not working. I think it's time to do it. Chicago, maybe. I know I wrote on our thing one more year because he's a young coach, but they're now in last place in the Central.
I think he's only been there probably a full year now.
Yeah.
He took over halfway through last season.
Yeah. The Wild. They got Guerin as the GM, and their second
could be
last.
fired.
He could.
Head off somewhere.
He could go to Calgary.
He could go to San Jose.
He could. He can go to anywhere at this point. But I think he gets fired from the Wild with how poorly it goes. And then I think the Wild are about to seriously blow up their organization. Like, if you're not nailed down...
They could fire Bruce and bring Laviolette in.
They could do it. It works well with older guys.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I think the Wild have a hot seat coach. This is kind of like our opinions. We don't actually know.
Predictions.
These are our opinions and predictions. So I said Buffalo because you started off really well and now you've fallen off. And it's like, where did that go? And you fired Housley and now he's in Arizona. And, well, Arizona's second in their division.
Like,
so
I don't think it was the coach.
We said Tampa. And we put a question mark I put a question mark next to it. But we said Tampa because how rough the season started for them. Followed up by, if you do not get past the first round this year, you might have issues.
Yeah, I think maybe, I don't know if they'd fire him if they I'm thinking they're going to make playoffs, but if you don't have any success in the playoffs like last season, I don't know if you give him another year, or maybe do like everybody else has been doing, giving him half of next season and firing him midway through, which I don't think you would want to do.
But I don't know. I think, and if Cooper got fired, my God, he would be highly paid.
Oh yeah.
Off of his list. But then we said the Leafs. I could see the Leafs firing Sheldon Keefe.
Or do you think they could move him back to an assistant coach role, or send him back down to the AHL?
Nah, you move him to an assistant coach, you might as well just leave.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, you're not good enough for the head coach.
That's the biggest slap. But I said the Leafs. If they don't get to the second round, because it looks like they'll run into Boston again. But if you don't get to the second round,
you just gotta get past Boston. I mean, easier said than done.
Everyone acts like that's an easy task. Dude. That's, oh my God.
Just ask St. Louis.
Just ask everybody, yeah. So, we think the Leafs, I'm sure there are a couple other teams, but the teams that are, like, really, really bad, besides New Jersey, are Ottawa, new head coach. Don't think you're going to fire him. Anaheim, new head coach. Don't think you're going to fire him. LA, new head coach. Don't think you're going to fire him.
Rangers.
New head coach.
Yeah. He's only been there about a year or so.
This is his
Maybe
first year.
two.
Maybe, no, they had an interim last year. I don't know. So, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're bad and you're at the bottom, and the Rangers are going through this weird rebuilding thing of where we signed all these big agents and we had a good draft. They're just missing a lot.
Yeah, and they've had a bunch of injuries early on too.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like, these are the guys that I think could be like Buffalo. How are you going from first in your division to last? Not like completely last, but missing playoffs. Chicago, you did really well at the end of the season, and now you have struggles, and I blame the GM for that one too. Red Wings, my gosh, you're rebuilding for 3 years. You should not be in this predicament, but you are scoring
another
goals.
couple more years.
Tampa, I think that depends on playoffs. Like, you whiff again on the first round, like, gone.
Yeah.
Leafs, whiff again on the first round, gone. I'm sure there's teams out there that want people, but I think Mike Gill could go somewhere. Mike Gill will go somewhere. Both Peters will go somewhere, and John Hines got picked up. So if John Hines gets picked up, like, you know,
Maybe if he turns them around again, maybe he gets re-signed with Nashville.
Oh, you have plenty. You have former players. You got college coaches.
That was kind of the trend of these last couple of seasons, is bringing in college coaches. Younger coaches, ones that haven't been in the league or familiar with working with younger players.
We'll see. We're going to go to teams now. We're going to go back to New Jersey. My goodness. So, you said they traded Taylor Hall, and they also fired their GM.
Yeah.
I don't have any
today, I believe.
No, they fired him today.
Yeah.
Oh.
Interesting decision after they pretty much you traded your former MVP. And you're like, well, that's kind of like. Then you fire your coach, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna fire the GM. It's like your decision making is kind of not making any sense right now. It's like I don't know what path they're trying to go down. It's like everybody, like you said, talked them up this year. They're going to be a playoff team. They might have some success in the playoffs, and now they're sitting dead last. Or I think they said today 11 points out of a playoff spot. That's a pretty tough spot to be in.
They were towards. I think Detroit's dead last or second dead last. New Jersey's like bottom 5, and it's one of those things where it's like you're about to start seeing teams lose a lot more.
It's like you've had a couple of first overall picks, first round picks, high draft picks, and then you added some good free agent pieces over the summer.
Yeah, that's a stupid thing. You had all these free agents, and you got Gusev, who is a KHL star who came over here and was having an excellent start to the season. You got Hischier, who I think looks a little bit like a bust at times, or it's like he's not like.
He doesn't take control he doesn't take over when he's out there.
I wish he would, but same with Kotkaniemi. And then maybe we're comparing them too much to Jack Eichel and Connor McDavid as like, oh well, you have
Jack Hughes too. You can put the speed on.
He's
not a big player, but he's kind of gonna be your franchise player, I guess, if they don't trade him away.
No, they're gonna keep him. They just signed him and Hischier. Subban. Oh my goodness, excuse me. Subban's been pissing me off.
It's been a tough season for him. Last couple of years.
I send you every time he updates the YouTube channel, don't I? I send that to you.
It's like, oh, one more update and a few less points on the board.
But yeah, I think that it's just a mess. Their goaltending has not been great. Their defense has been poor, and their offense, like the entire overall.
They've always kind of been a defensive team, but now that their defense is struggling and their offense fails to pick them up, it's a bad combination.
They got rid of who did they get rid of? They got rid of that winger 2 years ago, and they sent him to Anaheim.
Vatanen.
And they picked up and so it's like they got this weird, we can be an offensive defensive team, but then they don't have like the offensive talent there at times, and it's really weird. I don't know what they're doing. And now they're firing everybody, and I think they're gonna trade PK because like who makes YouTube videos while we're sucking?
And firing everybody. Having a great time in New Jersey.
Yeah. So I think that's good for Taylor Hall. I don't know if he requested the trade or they go, we just need you to...
A team that you'll go to.
Yeah.
And a team that will give us a good or a decent return.
Well, I mean, dude, if they were like, hey, you want Martin Berdeur's contract, I'm sure Arizona would take that too.
Yeah. I mean, they got everybody else's. They're still paying Datsuk and Hossa.
Yeah, so it's like, Arizona's playing fantasy hockey.
Half your roster doesn't even play anymore.
They're playing that EA Sports Fantasy All-Star roster. But, yeah, Jersey's firing everyone, trading. Hall in Arizona is like a really weird watch.
Yeah, it's like, it just looks out of place.
It's
Not that he's struggling at all, it's just, I don't know.
What was he, number 9? Number 4?
91?
Now he's 91, but in Edmonton he was
He's 4.
4. And in Jersey he was 9.
9.
And now he's 91, and it's like, this is just like a weird...
It just looks weird.
All of it looks weird.
Just like Kessel. Kessel in Arizona, it just, I don't know, it's strange.
All of it just looks weird, and that I'm...
Saying that, but they've both been traded multiple times.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, it looks weird, but it works. It's like weirdly working.
Yeah. I don't know.
You can't really
You
complain.
don't question it, you just watch it.
It's not a train wreck either. You're not just watching like, oh my god.
It just works.
It's just like, wait, you're telling me you have Hall, Kessel, Clayton Keller, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. You're getting great goaltending. You have Jason Demers. You have Alex Goligoski. Like you're having this team, and they're competitive.
Yeah. And you got rid of Domi. You got rid of Galchenyuk.
Yeah.
It's all these people.
You got rid of like half your talent base. Yeah. Like, and you got rid of Anthony Duclair and Strong. It's like, what? What
is happening?
Maybe I don't understand, but like, we were saying this about one of our coworkers who really isn't that bright. I've been saying this. I was like, what if she's just super meta? We just can't comprehend how smart she is. She's the Da Vinci of her time. Because when she would call orders out for the loudspeaker, instead of saying order number whatever ready at the deli, she would go ready order deli and then say the number. And I'm like, she's just so ahead of our time.
I'm cutting out words that aren't necessary.
We can't understand the new English language because she's just boom. So maybe Arizona's doing that. They're just...
We'll see in about a month and a half.
We'll see in a couple months. But I think they make playoffs. I think they're tough out.
They just need Kemper back.
They are a tough
They've got
out.
2 goalies down now.
And
but they're still going.
They got rid of Connor Murphy.
Yeah.
Which was like, why would you get rid of your big body defense? What? I just...
You got Jason Demers.
Get Kenny Myers. So, where do the Devils go? My God, I think they blow everything up. Like, I think you can trade PK. You're probably going to get rid of Wayne Simmons at the trade deadline. You could probably get rid of Gusev.
On a 1-year deal, so it's not that much to take on.
Yeah, you probably get rid of Gusev too because he's actually 30.
Send him back to Vegas.
He's a rookie, but he's not. Like, so,
he's a Russian rookie.
Yeah, send him out. You keep Hughes and Heischer. Do you keep Kyle Palmieri?
I think you do.
Do you keep Sammy Vatanen?
I think he's a good piece for their team.
I don't know.
Look for a goalie.
We can look at their roster next week and like write down.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the pieces they move.
Okay, so next team, Tampa Bay. What a turnaround!
Yeah, they went from like, are they even gonna make the playoffs this year?
Think about this. In December, if we were to film a video in December, I was asking, when do you panic? I was panicking in December.
Yeah, it was like, it's been 30 games and
Still
where are we going?
You're still sitting in a 5 spot, like, and you're not in the wild card. Like, what is happening? But what a turnaround! I don't know what they did. Cooper figured that out. Good for them. Stamkos is leading them, maybe. We don't watch Tampa Bay hockey.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Just like Florida. I'm like, I don't know.
Florida's been trucking people.
But Florida, just like, every time I look up, it's like, oh, they put up a touchdown tonight. Oh, put up a snowman. On Tampa. Or no, Toronto.
Yeah.
It's like, alright, maybe they're legit this season.
What's that? You want half a dozen? Here you go. What's that? You want a touchdown? Gotcha.
Garnet Will and Bobrovsky playing well. But Tampa's like, I think Vasilevsky was struggling for a little while there.
Hedman was
That
out.
hurt him. Yeah, Hedman was out. Sergachev kind of had to carry the back end a little bit.
Old New York, man.
They only got like half of them.
Yeah. New old New York.
It's like, oh, you don't want them anymore? Come on. Sign a cheap deal here.
So, I don't know. They've been fine. So, what a turnaround. I'm surprised. Where they are now. From December when I was like, oh my god, they're not making it to second place in the Atlantic.
Right behind Boston.
Right behind
I
Boston.
think everybody's behind Boston.
Dude. Boston/New England has like the luckiest run of crap.
It might be running out soon. Never know.
What a
Where's Brady
sport!
gonna go?
What a sport! Like, what a
On
sport
every
style.
level.
On every level.
It's not even fair. We can't even get one team.
They get baseball, basketball, hockey, football,
College hockey.
college hockey. Their college football's not good.
Oh no.
No. So, next one. Canadian teams. Montreal. I don't know what they're still viable for me as a wild card because we listed Boston, Toronto, Tampa Bay as a 1, 2, 3. And I said Montreal could get there and Carolina could get there. Montreal, Price has been playing a lot better. They added Kovalchuk, which I don't know how long they signed him, but give him a year.
I mean, I think he's still on the end of that contract. I think this is his first year back, isn't it? Second year back, and I think he's on a 3-year contract.
Good. Don't sign him to any more than
It was like
2.
3 years for $6 million per, which is oof.
I don't
It's
know.
not looking good for LA.
LA took a risk and it bit him again, and Montreal's taking a risk, and everywhere this guy goes,
Paid off so far.
it's not great. He screws them over when they're not good.
I think
So
he's got 4 points in like 6 games for Montreal.
they
Which I mean, that's just
got a bunch of
a
people.
team that maybe he doesn't have to be. Which he wasn't the number 1 guy in LA, but he's got younger players on the team with him now.
They got a bunch of weird collection of guys that just seems to work.
Yeah.
For releasing Pacioretty,
Yeah.
and releasing
For
PK,
basically nothing.
and releasing Jordy. It seems like they got a weird collection of people. They could make it. I wouldn't.
Price is gonna have to carry him again.
I'm like, dude, they would get the playoffs and Price would have to be lights out.
All right, you're gonna have to stop 45 tonight.
Yeah, Price would literally have to be lights out. I think they could make playoffs. I don't think you would see them in the second round. And if they did make second round,
like Boston in the first round or somebody,
I would be
it'd
shocked.
be tough.
It would be a hell of a series.
Yeah, it'd be a loud one. Have that Boston Montreal going again.
But yeah, I don't know. They got a really weird collection of people. And then they were even talking about, well, who do we trade to add more? And I'm like, I don't know who you would trade. Because only the people that you could trade...
Everybody.
Yeah, the people that you could trade are the people that are producing for you. So you're not going to, shouldn't do... I don't think
It's
you
like,
should.
oh, our top goal scorer, Pacioretty. Send him. Which, I mean, he was going to get paid, so I don't think they could afford him anyways.
He was going to get got, so he had to get got. So that worked out. It was seriously last year, oh, Pacioretty's going to have a bounce back. Boom, traded. Boom, traded.
It's like, he's going to help Vegas now.
Just gotta scratch that out. Yeah, I think they would. Good wild card 2, not a 1, but a 2.
bubble team that's kind of fighting for it in the last month of the season or so.
If they get a good fight in, if they get a good fight in.
Need a good stretch of games.
Look at Tennessee. Look at what they're doing in the NFL playoffs. Get a little good fight in you. Get a little more physical.
Get a good game here or there.
I like it. Toronto. What roller coaster of a year this has been. Because literally last video we talked about this over dinner. Well, the fall of the leaves. That would be a fun series. And then it just sears it.
It's like, oh, we might have nailed it.
It's like,
we might have undersold it.
It's like, oh my god, if I would have known, I would have been like that right. Like I should have been on Twitter more. Should have been hyping that up.
Been betting against Toronto.
Hashtag when the leaves fall. Like, all swinging through it. But Matthews, my goodness, I don't know.
Marner. It just started clicking again.
Tavares is an interesting person. I don't know. I think what's nice. Matthews and Marner are just so big that you don't have to worry about Tavares. But
it's like you can chip in 15 to 20 goals.
Yeah, but Matthew did. I think I sent you a video of Matthews doing something else, or I saw him doing something else, and it was just like little spot.
And Nylander's kind of stepped it up too for him.
Yeah,
after coming back last year with the whole contract situation, he's kind of like got to start the season with them this year, and has kind of played with them the whole way, so he's kind of getting better, back in the swing of things.
Who'd they get?
They lost Barry.
No, the other center. Tavares, Matthews, third line guy.
Trying to think. I think I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember his name.
They got him from Colorado. They got rid of Kadri.
From Colorado.
They got rid of Kadri and somebody else, and they picked up Barry and the other center.
It's gonna drive me insane.
Oh my god.
I'd have to hit up the roster.
Dude, here's the thing, we're doing again, we do this off the dome because how ridiculous would it be to just write rosters all around the room? But it literally hits us 2 days later.
It's like, oh yeah. It's like, how did I not think of that? Huh?
Yeah. It's like I forgot Sidorov one time. I'm like, I know he's big, it starts with a Z, and it literally hit me 2 days later. I'm like, I'm an idiot for that.
If it'll work for me. There. And Zach Hyman, Kevin Kerfoot. They got him from Colorado.
I think that's who it is. And Spezza. They got good centers. That's what I like. That's if they can win the Dodge, they got good centers.
But they've got a tough situation right now with their defense.
Biggest issue all year, and last year, and the year before that, which is why they went out and got Barry and Muzzin.
Yeah.
Which I like Muzzin and I like Barry.
Their offense. Which adds to the more potent offense that they have.
And Riley is good. They got rid of somebody in the offseason because they were like, it kind of competes with Riley, but we got rid of him. I think they just need one more big an actual defenseman. Yeah. Not Riley's offensive and Barry's offensive and Muzzin can shoot. Nothing get a Roman Polak. Get somebody who.
I think I saw that rumor today that could the Toronto Maple Leafs make a trade to bring Polak back? It's their shutdown defenseman. No. Since the Stars kind of have
screw
a lot of defensemen.
Screw that.
Nah.
We're not doing that.
But I think they talked about, I can't remember if he's a forward or not, Kyle Clifford. Adding him is sort of grit to their team.
Oh yeah, from LA?
LA.
They would need it.
Fits well with some of the players he played with before, so.
It works well. They need just a
good fit with Muzzin.
little more physicality. I think that's what's going to push them over the edge.
They just get beat up by Boston every year in the playoffs.
Matthews can handle it. Marner's the issue. Yeah. Marner's a little small, but yeah. Marner played so well last year. Yeah. Toronto defense. It's going to be a little weird because I don't know where the camera cut off at. So we're talking about defense again.
I think they have their top three missing right now, besides Barry.
They'll come back
with injuries because they have today announced that Riley's out for a minimum of 8 weeks. it's like a majority of the regular season that he's going to be out.
They still, Anderson is fine. He played well last season. He still gives like a little.
He won a lot of games last season.
Yeah, so I think you were like you asked Anderson carries them in playoffs. None of their defense can't hold.
Yeah.
Like,
if anything gets through, it's all up to you.
So, fortunately, I think we moved through this. Fortunately, I think we moved through this pretty quickly. Our last team that we really kind of wanted to talk about is the team that we played in the Winter Classic, and I know we keep getting stuck in this, but Nashville firing their head coach, bringing in a new one. They have what I would arguably say have underperformed. You have Johansson, Duchesne, Forsberg, Yossi, Ellis. Pekka's been not great. Ekholm has been okay. And Grimaldi is an engine that keeps going. Kyle Turris has not shown up on the scoreboard as much as I would like him to. It's like you have all of this firepower.
For goal scoring.
Yeah, all this firepower, and it's not paying off.
Their defense has been a majority of their scoring.
Oh, dude, their power play is still awful.
Yeah, it's not great. And it's like, and you have all these. I mean, they're good defensemen, but they can bring the offense. They can push the tempo, and it's like, and you're still like majority of your scoring is coming from the back end, and your still power play is struggling.
I like the roster still. I like it. I like it still. It's still a good core. The power play does not make sense because they put you know how Ovechkin comes on the offside. Okay, well they're putting like left-handed guys
Duchesne
on the boards and another right-handed guy on that side of the boards and not opening for one-timers. So it's one of those things where it's like, I'm sorry, you should just be like catch, pass, one-timer, catch.
You have Forsberg. Is like one of the hardest shots in the league. It's like one of the quickest snapshots in the league.
Good hands, too.
And hands.
Like, and you telling me your power play is?
I want to say it's in the bottom 5.
It's pretty bad. It's bad enough to be like, I'm sorry, you have no talent. Like,
excuse me.
How dare you? How dare you be this bad?
But I think Yossi's basically been carrying them, and Ellis, because they just shots from the point. They're not getting a lot of action from their wingers.
You know what I like is there's a tab under sections called Seattle. Just in case you're wondering what I'm looking at here, power play percentages. Face-off wins: Philly, Vancouver, and Toronto. Just in case you were wondering. And LA shoots a lot.
I mean, they're good down the middle.
Most wins: Washington, St. Louis, and Pittsburgh.
Because why not?
Let's see, power play percentage. 24th.
Yeah. Not where you want to be.
Ottawa's at 11%. But to be fair, like
you're hovering around Ottawa. That's not good company.
It was 17, and then it's the Sharks, Blackhawks, Red Wings, Kings, Ducks, Devils, Senators.
So all the teams that are around the bottom of the standings.
Dallas is 14th. We're not.
It's better than 24.
We
It's
should-
not where they should be.
We should be running
Should
like
be top 10.
25%. St. Louis is 25%. Lightning's 27%. Edmonton's at a 29.3%. But that's what happens. But that's what happens when you put Draisaitl and McDavid together.
Here, take the
like,
puck from the blue line.
I'm sorry. There's one less person. You put two of the best duo out there. Like, yeah, sorry. Yeah. So Nashville is like this weird. You know, you should not be that far down below, and you should not be where you're at.
Really, besides trading Subban, hasn't changed that much over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, so it's been solid. You might need to start shopping for a goalie.
Because Saros has kind of struggled behind Rene, which hasn't helped them.
He lost Hutton. He got a starting job. Like you need something.
Finns usually have pretty good goalies.
Finns do. Swedes do.
I mean, they got 2 Finns on their team, but Rene's getting up there. I think he's 35, 36 years old.
He's an old boy.
Been playing there forever. Kind of carrying him for the last 2 decades and only made playoffs really the last 5 or 6.
So, but that's where we're at. Okay, we're going to, once again, bounce back to Arizona. I know we talked about them. They weren't really in our list, but Arizona, man, it just... We went through Hall and Kessel already. So now the real question with our Arizona thing is, do you buy them? Do you buy them as a playoff team? Do you buy them as a real team? Do you buy them as a fantasy team? What do you got on them?
I think I buy them as a playoff team. I don't know if I buy them as a contender, though. I think Kemper, once he's back healthy, has kind of helped carry them. Their offense is kind of... It can go either or. They're more, I think, defensive-minded. They have shut-down defensemen on the back end. But I think I'm going to call them a playoff team, but I don't think they make it past first round.
Okay. Well, we would have to see how...
I do believe in Arizona. I call it this year. Because I listen to other people. It's not my own opinion.
I don't know. I like them as playoffs. I want to see how the bracket falls out.
Yeah. It just depends on who they... If you get Arizona and like St. Louis in the first round...
No, they were... Let's say, if they were to start today, right?
I think they're facing Edmonton.
No.
Vegas, maybe?
Vancouver.
That'd be an interesting
That would be a good one.
Two young teams.
I think that's what we're all at. Yeah. I wrote this down today. Calgary, Arizona, Vancouver, Las Vegas, Edmonton.
I think Vegas is in a wild card spot with Colorado or Winnipeg.
Yeah. Well, it just flipped around today because I think the game just ended, so they added 2 points. So it's literally Arizona's now the 1 seed, Calgary, Vancouver, then it's Vegas and Edmonton. And since St. Louis has 67 points, they get the 2 seed, which is Edmonton, and Arizona would face Vegas.
That'd be an interesting one.
If it was to start today.
Cross-state rivals.
Yeah, if it was to start today. Now, like, when I wrote this down earlier, it was the other way around.
Yeah.
So if they were to enter, they'd play Vancouver, and I think they have the edge there with experience and stuff.
Goaltending.
But
I think if they face Vancouver, they'd have a good chance of making second round.
I think it depends on who they get. I think it depends on everything. Now, next team, since we went through Arizona kind of earlier, Vegas has... Vegas is a weird team.
Yeah, they haven't, I don't know. They just haven't been like the team they were the first 2 years. They're still exciting at times, but it's not like all the time.
They're so much better at home to me.
Yeah.
Like, they're such a home team.
They're not a great road team.
And Fleury, when he's not there, it kind of dries up. And I think they had some injuries with, like, various people. So I think injuries have gotten to them.
A lot of forward injuries.
Yeah, it's a little weird. But Stone carries them. Pacioretty is now getting on track again, and it's like,
Carlson's starting to score more.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like they just kind of gotten off this road, and it's really like we wrote down. It's hard to gauge, and their backup goalie situation of when Fleury's not in, the whole team doesn't play well. So it's like that is the
It just
weirdest.
makes it harder. They give up 40 shots.
It's the weirdest phenomenon of like, I don't want to be the face of the franchise and the soul of the team, and it's like, well. Somehow you magically are.
Yeah. It's like you just were brought in an expansion. It's like you're the face of the franchise now.
Yeah. But I do like, I still like their defensemen. I like their defensive core. I like their top 2 lines, and I do like their third line with like Eakin winning faceoffs. Like they got they're just weird.
They got some grit in their lineup too.
Yeah. So last thing we want to talk about, which I wrote, no noise, no problems, no 91. St. Louis. Somehow they're trucking along, like we just read earlier.
That's right, Bennington. But like you said, I think he hasn't been, despite the record and maybe even his record numbers, he's kind of had some struggles this year, like that he didn't have in his first season.
It's one of those weird things where everyone wants to talk about analytics now, and I mean, like I went to school for part of that, but I'm all about it. But then it's one of those things where it's like. You still eyeball test it.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't look nearly as like comfortable, or just like nonchalant as he did last season.
Maybe in playoffs it turns on, but I don't know. I've watched him a couple times, and the stuff that he faced last year, like shots would come in and it would stick to him, now are looser.
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like maybe
That's where a majority like his goals against are coming from is just bad rebounds.
Bad rebounds. Parenko's still there. I mean, they still are gonna lock down the entire front of the net.
They got big guys on the back end.
But my goodness, like, is that an issue? And I still have the issue of them not scoring goals, but they're like, we can still win 1-0, 2-1 games. And I'm like, I don't.
Till you face a high power team.
I don't think you're going to be able to last because your goalie's having issues and people are firing pucks away, and
all you got to do is just get traffic to the net.
It's hard to get that and then get through. So I mean, when it comes to playoffs, man, oh my goodness, they're going to be the playoff style of hockey fits right into what they need to do. It's kind of like what LA was doing when they had 3 cups, where it was like, hey, we're either really good in the regular season or we miss completely, and then when we do make it, we struggle, but when we get to playoffs,
just hold off everybody.
So I don't know. No noise, no problems, no 91.
Sailing right along
In the Central Division. Got rid of Fabry, sent him to Detroit. They didn't bring in another goal scorer. They got rid of Maroon. Like, what do you do? So, like we just looked at, we are now going to talk about kind of the standings and where we think they are for playoffs. I don't really know the wild card situation. I just kind of have the standings in front of me. Are you going to look at the wild card? You're going to see who's the wild card?
Alright, so in the Central we got St. Louis, Dallas, Colorado. Pacific we have Arizona, Calgary, Vancouver, which that just switched within the last couple of minutes or so. They're all within a point of each other, so they can flop at any time. And then Vegas is wild card 1, and Edmonton is wild card 2. Eastern Conference is Boston, Tampa Bay, Toronto. Metro is Washington, Pittsburgh, and the Islanders. We didn't talk about. We can talk about them when we talk about standings.
Mm-hmm.
And then Carolina in the number 1 wild card, and Philly in number 2, with Florida and Columbus right behind them. So those are kind of bubble teams right there.
And the bubble teams are Winnipeg.
In the West is Winnipeg, and Nashville is 4 points out as of right now.
So they're 5 and they're 4 points. Okay. I'm not going to talk about Washington.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about Boston.
I think the Islanders have been really interesting this year. Nobody seems to talk about them a lot. And they're just...
They have the same issue as last year. Who do they have and what are they doing other than winning?
It's like, what is their identity, I guess?
Physical?
It's like physical, got fast young guys up front.
They're Washington Light. That's what they are. They're the Washington Light. I don't know. It works, man. It works. And they got Varlamov. And I think Halak. No, they got Varlamov for a fact. I don't know the other goalie, but Varlamov seems to be the backup if you can.
Bryce, I think.
That sounds right.
Because they've had, I think they're number 2 this year in goals allowed.
I'm so dumb. Halak is Boston's backup. Grice, that's right.
Those two move so much in between teams.
My fault. Yeah, they got Grice. Good goaltending. They still have who's it? Ladd.
Yeah, they still have Ladd.
And they have Letty and they
Barzal.
Barzal.
I was about to say Besser for some reason. I don't know why. Just going with the alliteration.
I still think they have issues when it comes to playoffs. Because if they run into
Brock
Pittsburgh.
Nelson. I got Brock Nelson.
No. Doesn't sound right. Why do I think he's in Detroit?
I think he's still with the Islanders. I think he signed a big deal with them.
I don't know. I think the Islanders run into the issue of if playoffs were to start today, we face Pittsburgh, and while Pittsburgh has no Crosby, I don't know if you win.
Yeah.
I think you beat Pittsburgh.
Even though Pittsburgh doesn't have strong goaltending, they still got offense. Still got Gino.
Pittsburgh's weird. I don't see Pittsburgh making it past the first round. I think the Islanders were to play Pittsburgh. I think the Islanders would win, and then they would either run into Carolina, right? They'd either run into Carolina or they'd run into Washington, and just like that happens, like they're gonna get.
Like Ovechkin just say something.
Yeah, you get smacked around. So I think they're a good second round team if they were to start today. I don't really know too much else about them. swear to God, Brock Nelson's in Detroit. Or Minnesota.
I think that's Niels. I don't know.
One of them is somewhere.
Nielsen or Nelson, somebody somewhere.
Someone's in Detroit and it sounds awfully familiar.
Someone's in Detroit and I don't like it.
Oh, I'm blanking. Oh my God, we're having this issue. So I don't know. The Islanders, whatever. Pittsburgh, again, is a really weird team. They lost Crosby. They've lost Malkin. They've lost
Kessel.
Their third line isn't performing as well. And
Getzel's been struggling this year.
Getzel's out. Shoulder surgery.
No, I watched that happen. I'm like, that's not going to be good.
So he's out. Defense. Letang. And then who?
Just named All-Star captain.
And who? Who else is there? Who else is in Pittsburgh? And then somehow you're in second. And it just means...
Got rid of Olimata.
It just means the Rangers are god-awful, the Devils are crap, and you can still beat Philly, and Columbus is a tough out.
Yeah, Columbus is always going to fight you.
I still want Pittsburgh and Columbus. It's the weirdest rivalry.
I love it.
Well, I think it's weird, but it makes sense now that I think about it, because...
I kind of would want to see Pittsburgh and Philly again. I don't know if we're going to see that anytime soon.
I hope so, but...
Jimmy Hayes. Not Jimmy Hayes. Kevin Hayes. That's his brother.
They're all over the place. Yeah, so Pittsburgh's weird. I think
I'm more scared of Carolina than anybody.
You should
I think
be.
Carolina and Washington.
You should be.
Riding the storm surge.
Storms are coming. And they brought back Williams. So I think Carolina could be a 3 seed. I think Carolina could be a 2 seed. I think this is...
overtake Pittsburgh.
There's a couple ways you could say this. I like this way. Just because you put a goat in a tuxedo doesn't make it anything else. It's still a goat. And Pittsburgh looks like they just put a goat in a tuxedo. And it's still a goat.
Still a penguin.
Yeah. It's still... You know, I said this at work, too. I go, when I come back, everything looks all nice, neat, organized. I was telling you this. And it looks like you could take the crappiest house, and it looks like you just put a fresh coat of paint on there, but you didn't renovate anything on the inside. That's what Pittsburgh is. I think they
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. You just put a fresh coat on there, and somehow you're 2. Washington is a very... Oh my God, Washington is so strong.
It's the same team.
They're so strong every year, and then they get in the playoffs, so that's whatever. Islanders, I don't...
have a healthy Oshie this year. That might help.
No. But yeah, Islanders, man, I don't know. They're tough.
Shock the world.
Shock them. Can't do that
Shocking
thing.
them on Long Island.
Can't do that thing.
Either Nassau or Barclays.
Either one.
Or both.
Either one, they're crap stadiums. Both of them.
Both.
And then let's talk about Philly. Philly's hard for me to gauge.
Yeah, it's interesting. Owens on Carter Hat.
As hard as Vegas is for me to watch and be like, yeah, I'm all in it. Or, yeah, they're
like
good. Philly's even worse.
It's like, I don't even know what this team is.
It's like, oh my God, they're so good right now. Oh my God, now they're down and they're fighting to get, and now they can't come back. Now, they want a close one. Now they're rolling people. It's like, dude, I need you to just...
Pick a lane.
I need you to figure out where your identity is. And it's really not hard, because your identity is to beat people up and win face-offs. And yet you can't score.
Your old school was just run over people.
Yeah.
And drive the net.
But you're run by older people.
Yeah.
And your younger talent doesn't flourish.
Vigneault behind the bench.
I don't know, man. It's a weird
Setup.
mixture of...
Just odd pieces.
But I said I wouldn't be disappointed if Philly made playoffs. Because I think...
Could have Philly and Columbus in there. With Carolina in the top 3.
I think we all agreed on this. You went Arizona as a wild card.
Sorry.
I think you went Arizona as a
Could
wild
win the
card.
division this year, I don't know.
And then we kind of went back, forth, right? You went... Where did you go with this? You went bottom with Philly. Did you? No, we flipped Philly. I don't know.
Philly, Columbus.
I think so.
I'm so sorry.
I think that's what this
Thank
is.
you, New Jersey, for living up to the hype this year and finishing 2nd place. Thanks so much.
Maybe that's my notes. I don't know. We don't... We don't write down our predictions. We're pretty bad about it. I have them, but we don't.
Or I forget.
Yeah, it's an issue. So I wouldn't be mad if Philly made it. And then you know what they could wear? They're all black in round one.
Oh, I'm all for it.
Coming out.
All black, Pittsburgh.
Would they get put? I don't know. We'll see. Florida, weird team.
Yeah.
I think Florida squeaks in there because
They're
Philly's gonna
right
blow
there.
it.
They got Bobrovsky on the back end.
Dude, Philly's gonna blow it. Florida's gonna get in. It could
I
happen.
wouldn't be mad.
I wouldn't be mad with either one of those teams, but
I'd
I
like
like
to see
that.
Florida back in the playoffs,
I would too.
especially with those New Jerseys.
Throw them rats, man. All right, let's jump over to the West. Calgary.
What is it?
If we're looking at it now, they're number 2. But if we're looking at it 2 hours ago, they're number 1. Quietly having a nice time of their lives up there in the Saddle Dome. I still think they trade Kachuk, but now I don't think they will if they're this close. And Edmonton. What?
Tippett, man.
Tippett had him in 1.
Smitty's kind of playing better than he did in Calgary.
Neil's playing better than he did in Calgary.
Which, I mean, Tippett's a defensive coach, so you're going to get somewhat better defense.
I don't think they're a wild card.
Just let McDavid and Draisaitl run train on other teams.
That's your whole offense, though. That's concerning. We thought Winnipeg and Nashville would be the 2 teams that would make it. And now it's Vegas and Edmonton. And we thought Vegas would be 1. And I said Calgary would be a wild card. But now Calgary seems to have...
I want to say I had San Jose up there.
I think so, too. San Jose bit me.
But they've had a
No pun
rough go.
Rough go of things, they sure did.
Vancouver's kind of surprised me. I didn't really buy them as a contender at all.
I said they needed 1 or 2 more years, and now I'm eating those words. But to be fair, I still think they need 1 or 2 more years.
It's like the Winnipeg thing all over again.
But good, a good Winnipeg.
Yeah,
A good Winnipeg thing, not a bad
young
Winnipeg. They got Myers, dude. They got some pieces. I think they're 1 or 2. I said they're 1 or 2 years out from where I want them to be. Now they might be 1 or 2 years out from being like we could go win a cup.
I think they're still trying to dump Louis somewhere, but they just can't.
Oh, he's
The
playing too well.
contract.
He's playing too well now. He's showing up. He scored the other night.
They showed that like he's got 36 goals in his 4 years to match the $36 million they're paying him. Sounds like
It's $1 million a goal, baby.
It's rough.
But Arizona 2 seed. Dude, I would talk about Calgary's so weird. They're such a
I
weird
don't
team.
know how to gauge them anymore.
Dude, they're so good in the regular season, and then they get the playoffs, and they just get hammered.
They're just not. They've got Kachuk now that might help them, but it's not enough.
They had Bennett too. They had Bennett. They had
Giordano.
They have Lucci. No, they had who's the guy they sent to Carolina. And dude, he was a wrecking ball in the playoffs.
Oh.
And it was just like, why would you trade that? Okay.
Digress.
Edmonton. I don't have a third line that I would be like, yep, that would get it done.
It's like we got our top line. Got some good pieces on the second. Where do we go from?
Missing
if
a
they
third
shut
and
down
fourth.
those 2 lines.
Missing a third and fourth line, but it's really hard to shut down Connor McDavid right now. So you can float
You can
by.
try.
You can float by with that. I'd love to see them in playoffs. I think they should be in playoffs. I said this
I want to see
earlier.
Edmonton, Calgary, or Edmonton, Vancouver.
Edmonton would run into St. Louis, and my goodness, that would be god awful.
I want to see.
Vegas needs to drop
I'd love
to
to see
2
Edmonton put St. Louis out. That would just make my day. Just McDavid just going off.
That would cream your corn.
Just anybody putting St. Louis out.
But then we would get them in the second round.
Yeah.
I mean, we would face Colorado, but Colorado's a fight.
I don't want to face that. Not that I don't want to face them, Mike. That would be a hard series.
That's a fight, dude. Right now, 2 seed.
That's like playing St. Louis in the first round.
It's
It's a
fight.
fast, hard, heavy-hitting team.
It's a fight, baby. But we seem to have
Stop
Colorado.
McKinnon.
We got Colorado's number.
Yeah. Stop McKinnon.
We either
You're
need to catch St. Louis, or we need to fight for this 2 seed. Because if it goes to a game 7 and we go to Colorado, we ain't winning.
That's a rough one. They get that first one, and then it just piles on after that.
No, it's not good. But Vegas, hard to gauge. Edmonton, missing some pieces. Calgary. How about this? Next week we come back.
Wild card team.
Next week we come back. No wild card team. You want to do this next week?
Sure.
I'm off Tuesday, Wednesday. We can film it 9 o'clock at night again.
Winnipeg's hard to gauge for me too. I haven't watched a whole lot of
Injury-ridden,
Winnipeg
missing
this year.
people.
Line is kind of, I don't know what's happened the last
He's
year and a half.
he's putting up points.
I don't know.
He's a man.
That's a man.
That's a man. He's a man. Alright, so next week, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about the Flames? You want to do the Jets? How about we talk about jerseys? Yeah, that's the Flames, Jets. Calgary.
Canadian teams.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Calgary in general, like how great your city is. No, your Saddle Dome needs to be burned to the ground.
I mean, it already flooded, so,
Stop the fire. Let's talk Florida. Let's get the Panthers in
the
there.
Islanders. Need to research the Islanders a little bit more.
Panthers and the Isles.
Maybe Carolina.
Let's do the Canes, baby. Come on, Canes.
Come on, Canes. They should be sponsored by Raising Canes. If they're not, I'm very upset.
I don't know if Raising Canes is that far out.
Which, I don't want their sponsorship either. They're trash.
Good. We're on the same page.
Best thing about your chicken is the bread.
Oh my god, dude. I had a conversation, so I'm down, I'm visiting my old friends down in Austin, and they were like, oh my god, our kids love Raising Canes. I was like, oh my god, why?
But why though?
Yeah, with respect, why? And even my girlfriend, she was like, oh, I love Raising Canes. I was like, yeah, what do you like there? She was like, I like the bread. I was like, so then you don't like them.
Chicken.
You don't like them.
You offer up like Thousand Island with your chicken. I'm like, who does that? It's communism.
But yeah, so I do like Bush's chicken. I don't know if you've heard that. Yeah, Bush's chicken's good. I like them.
Waco or something.
They're in 40 now. Yeah. I like them better than Chicken Express because they seem less greasy. But if I want to feel fat that day, I go to Chicken
Depends
Express.
on the day. I go to Chicken Express and like one day it's like super greasy, the other day it's like dry. Choke me to death. Chicken.
Dude, it's hit or miss. Okay, we want to
So
do...
chicken places, hit us up for that sponsorship. Where the Colonel at?
Oh, dude, I went into Chick-fil-A and they were like, name for the order? And I was like, Colonel.
The Colonel.
The Colonel. Last name? Sanders. They were like, are you serious? I was like, yeah. Then I went to Starbucks. I was like, Dunkin'?
Yes.
And they're like, how do you spell that? I'm like, like Dunkin' Donuts. The cashier laughed, but the manager was like, I'm not amused by your antics. And I'm like,
his name's Duncan.
Duncan. Okay, jerseys for the All-Stars.
Oh no, Terrell. His name Terrell.
It's Tyrell. It's Tyrell.
Tyrell, that's what it was.
It's Tyrell. It's Tyrell. Tyrelly. I love people, man. They're great. That's actually funny. What do you want? Carolina.
Maybe the Rangers.
You want to talk about the Rangers?
Not really. No.
No.
They're in a weird spot.
I feel like Montreal's going to do something by next week. Look at us, writing show notes for next week on camera.
On top of it.
Let's do... When's the trading deadline?
I want to say mid-February? Maybe the first week of February?
We're going to be in the third week, so...
Let's see. That's close to... first week.
I'm sorry, you guys are watching us right
Yeah.
now. You can also hear the dog. Sorry about that too. So...
Trade deadline is 2 o'clock on March 1st. That doesn't seem right.
Ouch, March 1st now?
That seems late.
Dude, what the hell?
Date. Let's go with that. February 25th. Yeah, that seems right. It's like, that seems super late for a trade deadline.
Feb 25th, and we're on the January...
13th.
And by next week will
About a month and a
be...
half.
Next week will be the 17th or 18th? So we'll be 2 or 3 weeks out.
Yeah.
People will move.
We'll have the Stadium Series game coming up.
Who will be moved?
We can talk about the Stadium Series game.
Stadium Series.
Colorado, LA. Colorado's gonna run. Especially because they're at home too.
Okay. I think Minnesota actually needs to sell people. Who will be moved? Let's look at
I
Jersey.
think about the only person that doesn't move is Spurgeon.
Maybe.
And probably Suter and Parise just because you can.
I think San Jose will move someone.
LA? Maybe. It's tough with the contracts.
Anaheim does.
Moving Gibson. we're gonna trade for a goalie.
Poor Gibson.
He's just like, guys, help me out.
English so good. Okay, so you want to talk about more? Let's put closer look.
Western Canada, basically.
Closer look. You don't really watch Vancouver.
No,
You need
I
to.
watch more. Which is mostly highlights, anyways. It's more Flames than anybody.
You need,
Jets or Vancouver.
the Jets are out east, buddy.
I mean, just over the Canadian teams, it's more Flames than anything because it's Kachuk every day.
You need to get on that Vancouver train.
That Quinn Hughes train.
You know what? Ride the whale. I'm on it. Join me. So you want to look at the Flames, the Jets, the Panthers, the Islanders, the Canes, the Canadiens. I'm going to say Oilers. Bottom roster. How's that sound? Because we already know they have the top 2. And Chason's been moving and James Neal's on the second line. So bottom roster. You know what? Buffalo can move some people. I feel like Buffalo would just blow up their... just blow
We
it
tried.
Yeah.
We put together 2 good first halves, and then after that.
So we got All-Star jerseys, a closer look at these teams, the Stadium Series, and who will be moved, and I'm sure some head coach will be fired.
It's just a matter of time. Or somebody's going to be hired by somebody.
Yeah, and work on jokes. Let's work on
We're killing
jokes. I know. People hate when I do dad puns, but it's clean humor.
Why not?
It's
fun for everybody.
I made a messed up joke last night. I made a boo-boo. But
yeah, I feel like
it'll be good.
it was a good show. Covered a lot.
Covered a lot.
We did it quick too. I felt like it
Um,
may not have been quick.
I don't think it was
I think
quick.
with how many topics we had, we went through
Pretty well.
pretty well.
And then our camera died, so we'll see. We'll see how that enters out. You got to watch us write our show for next week. We don't know when that's going to be coming out, but it should be smaller.
A little bit shorter.
Right, we got everything on the board.
Because we're not covering 3 months of hockey.
Yeah.
Just happened.
Yeah, we're not covering 3 months. Oh, and speaking of what happened in the previous week, Perry was suspended for 5. Cassie got suspended for 2 for whooping up on them. Speaking of Kachuk, whooping up on him. I can't say the other thing.
Yeah. Just ragdolled him.
And someone else got suspended.
I don't keep up with suspensions as much as I should. It's probably somebody important.
It was important enough for me to be like, that's new.
I want to say somebody got like 4 games or something recently.
Riley's
I could
out.
not tell you. I need a suspension tracker.
Why don't they send that to me more often?
That's what they should have on the NHL app, is a suspension tracker. That way you could keep up with, like, you could have a list of like repeat offenders. So like who's gonna get more games the next time around.
Yeah, that's what. Look at us thinking of ways for the NHL app to improve.
McDermott, 2 games. I don't even remember I think he was boarding.
That's what it was. It was something random. Look at us thinking of ideas. And then
Just helping out.
something else happened too. I don't know. I still don't trust Kovalchuk for any team. That's a terrible. You're dancing with the devil.
It's
If
good
you're
for him. I guess for the year.
No, but he's like, oh, I want 5 years.
Not gonna happen.
And they go, no. And he goes, oh, I'll go somewhere else. And so he goes somewhere else. He goes, I want 5 years. And they go, okay. And then they burns him. And every time. And everyone's like, oh my God, who would have saw that coming? I'm like, I don't know. There's track history.
McDermott will come back against the Stars. Oh, he already did. Well, I'm late on that one. Sorry about that. Thought it was more recent. It was January 3rd. I forget that it's the 13th already.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Days move quick. But
This year's almost over.
once again, we still do not know how to close out our show. We have no advice for you. We have no new knowledge of anything other than
Let's do that hockey.
do that hockey. Just gotta do that hockey.
Next 3 months is going to be the best hockey we'll watch until April. Maybe it'll be even better hockey.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's still a fight. You know, there's still a couple things going on. I think
Trade deadline will be an interesting one.
God, who's that one actor? The one Christopher Walken. I watched a movie with him in it, and it's like, oh my God, I see why everyone does impersonations of him. Because it's not just him talking normally like that; it's him acting like that and then talking. So
it's like he acts like he is in real life. He's the same person on the screen as he is off the screen.
Well, son, your mother and I will get back. I'm like, oh my God. Like, as I do in terrible impersonations. But, yeah. Nailing it, yeah. Yeah, so we got our next week's show. We'll figure out when to do it. Hopefully the dog will cooperate. Hopefully our camera won't die. And hopefully we upload this by tomorrow. Downside, my internet's been acting really weird. We still don't know how to close out. We hung up a whiteboard. We're going to get some new pops.
I think
Working
that
on a
helped
new
a lot
table.
for this show. The whiteboard really came in handy.
Did it?
I only looked at my phone like twice. That's because I was like, I don't know.
That's because we ran out of room for the stand.
Yeah. Because I can't write everything down.
Yeah. That's because we had too many coaches.
Yeah. We only had, what, 6? 7? 7 in the last 2 months?
You know.
I think 5 of those were within 2 weeks, I swear to God.
Yeah, it was bad. It was like, oh my God, everyone's getting fired.
It was like, oh, Babcock, Peter's on Monday. I was like, oh my God, it's happening.
Yeah, so, but the hot seat thing, that was our early guess on that. I mean, we're still a ways out. I'm sure some other news will come out, but I swear to God, if we nail the Buffalo, the Wild...
Somebody's getting fired within the next 2 weeks.
And if we nail the Buffalo, the Chicago, the Wild, the Tampa, and the Leafs all hot seat, called it.
Sign it up. Sign us up.
And if Babcock goes back to Detroit, like I told you, I even have that in text message. I have it on video.
And coming back and beating the Leafs.
Calling it. Yeah, and beating the Leafs. Calling it.
I mean, I don't agree, but I would love to see it.
No. Yeah, you laughed at it the first time. People laugh. But maybe I'm so meta.
Maybe I'm so ahead.
Ahead of everyone else that you're not able to. And guess what? We found the right camera angle. Sit about midway through the table. You wondering how long this table is? It's enough to fit 6 people.
See, you don't have to see my face close up.
No, you don't have to see this. No, but it was good. Christmas break was good, and maybe next year we actually go somewhere. I'm still working on figuring that out. I am going to Europe though. That's a real thing. That's paid for. I am going to Europe. Paid for. Need my passport. Got a couple other things to do. I like next week's show.
That'll be a good one.
We'll be good.
Covered a lot of topics today.
We did. A lot of topics. Hopefully next video is a little bit shorter. We're working on the table. We're working on hanging shelves. We're working on whiteboards. We're working on fixing our setup so it's not like crap. And I want to change this light bulb, but you know, that's for like over the summer. So you don't get this yellow weird tint.
At least you got the content.
You got the content, and if we film during the day, you get the good light.
Yeah. Which I don't know. Texas is kind of tough.
As
Dark at like 5:30.
As of late. But if, yeah, I mean, I literally wake up at 3. I was like, nah. I woke up at 4 today. I was like, nah.
Feeling it.
Feeling it good. But that's us. Boom, good claps. That's us. We're Fresh Ice. We're never really that fresh. I don't
Trying
know.
to keep it fresh.
We're trying to keep it fresh. We're trying to keep it Flavor Flav. We're so bad at jokes.
Please don't sue me.
But, it'll be good. We need to hang a clock up so we actually know what time it is. We've been better about our phones.
We need a countdown clock.
It would really help if we had a producer just like, next,
Segment.
next. So, we feel pretty good. Don't know about everyone else.